So far, our video series has covered a lot of practical info, but now let's come back to some foundational principles. Here are 10 secrets to a successful education to guide your homeschooling journey. The first secret is the preeminence of character. Character in homeschooling is similar to the foundation and structure of a building. All other subjects, from geography to science, are only the wallpaper. Most institutional schools teach character for just a few minutes a day, if at all. But in a homeschool setting, parents can teach character first and foremost, and then all other subjects are even more effectively taught. This principle is true whether it involves a toddler learning obedience during potty training sessions, or a teenager learning diligence during a math lesson. The second secret is quality one-on-one instruction. Throughout history, the most successful, highly educated figures were tutored in a one-on-one format. Large classrooms in public or private schools are a modern invention, and standards have dropped a lot since the days when 16-year-olds were expected to be ready for Harvard. Homeschooling can replicate the high standards of a tutorial model as parents work with one child at a time for the subjects of reading, writing, and arithmetic. For other subjects such as history or science, a small group of multiple ages gathered together works well. The third secret to a successful education is the principle of sequential progression leading to mastery. Reading, writing, and arithmetic taught carefully at home leads to mastery of these basic subjects. Once mastered, other subjects can be more easily learned and mastered. The fourth secret is individuality, the idea that God created each of us in His image, but each uniquely. We all share a gene pool, but not even twins have the same fingerprints. A standardized education system doesn't take into account the individuality and often leaves struggling students behind, while simultaneously holding back higher achievers. But homeschooling can give each child an education that's tailor-made for them, teaching reading and math concepts at just the right time, in the learning style that suits their personality and interests best. When you disconnect them from traditional expectations of what subject to teach when and in what exact grade level you teach it, you can accept both gifted and struggling learners just as God created them, and help them achieve and enjoy their education. The fifth secret is to do the basics well. Education isn't complicated, but we can make it complicated by forgetting to focus on the basics. A child who's been taught to think, pray, read, and communicate has all the tools to be able to teach himself more about the world around him. He'll be able to worship God, and he'll be able to be successful in whatever experiences and environments life sends his way. So focus on teaching the basics well. The sixth secret is the principle of life integration. A good education doesn't just teach facts, it applies those facts to life. Knowledge without application is useless, and can even be counterproductive. It's difficult for parents to teach application to life when their children spend hours every day at an institutional school far removed from family life. Homeschooling provides a completely different paradigm. What the student learned in the morning can be discussed around the lunch table. Then in the afternoon, the student can enjoy a hands-on activity to put that knowledge into practice. You can build a 14th century castle replica right after studying the Middle Ages. Or minister to a needy family by together preparing them a meal in home economics class. Knowledge put into practice is wisdom. The seventh secret is to root learning in relationships. Children need to be firmly established in healthy, meaningful, loving relationships within the family. Numerous studies show that a child's home life is the biggest determining factor in future success. Homeschooling can bring out the best and worst in both parents and children, but in time, the investment in relationships will bear much fruit. The eighth principle is protection. Parents need to take seriously their responsibility to oversee their children's education, entertainment, and friendships. It's far too easy to hand off this responsibility to others without really considering how these influences could affect their child's life. These days, parents who homeschool their children to protect them from harmful influences are often shamed by society. But protecting children doesn't mean keeping them in ignorance about the world outside their home. Homeschooling allows parents to be the ones to introduce their children to the hard realities of a fallen world through the lens of a biblical worldview. The ninth secret is to maintain the honor and wonder of learning. Learning teaches us about the world and our place in it, and it lets us revel in the pure joy of discovery, and most importantly, teaches us about our Creator God. Learning can be as simple as observing a flowering plant, or as weighty as studying the Bible to learn God's attributes and eternal will. When parents model learning as a creative and fun activity, their children will naturally want to join in. Your homeschooling experience can spark a love for learning in your children that will burn for the rest of their lives. The 10th and final secret is to build on the right foundation. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge, but sadly, God is no longer the foundation of our public education system. Christian homeschooling seeks to restore biblical truth as the cornerstone of all learning, and this worldview gives students the confidence of knowing their value and purpose in God's plan. It also helps parents understand that they are accountable to God for how they raise their children. A Christian foundation stands the test of time, while all other foundations collapse. In this series, we've covered a lot of tiny specific details about required hours and reporting, but don't get too caught up in the weeds. Keep the main thing, and with these 10 principles in mind, you're set for your journey of home education. It can be a tough one, but it's worth it.